So you got a puppy, or maybe you're getting a puppy. Congrats. This is going to be a super fun and super rewarding journey in your life. And we need to remember that we are not just training a puppy, we are raising a dog. We are raising our future best good friend. It's important to do more than just train your puppy. You are building a relationship. This is where the bond really starts. And by being a firm but fair parent, before you try and be your puppy's friend, I can almost guarantee you and your future best good friend are going to have so many fun adventures, and it's going to feel like that dog. Who doesn't want that? I'm Genna, and I am a canine coach. And I do more than just train dogs. I coach and educate the owners to better understand their dogs so they can have the best life. Because that's really what it is. It's a relationship. So consider me your canine relationship coach. Now, let's start from the very beginning, because that is where a lot of people start their journey. It's easy to understand and better learn dogs when you understand how they develop, how they process the world, how they learn things, and how they can be very impressionable, and how we can help that. Puppyhood is, for all intents and purposes, we are going to kind of do a side by side. And so puppies, meaning puppies about 8 to maybe about 16 weeks old, that is when I honestly really consider them to be like a baby. This is your baby stage from infancy to like 2 years old or so. That is kind of where their brain is at as far as like processing new experiences, new and positive or negative interactions with the world around them and with the people and the dogs and the animals. This is a very important phase. This is not the phase where you are focusing on any crazy obedience. When I come into the picture with my private puppy to preteen clients, it is all right, we are just focusing on potty training and crate training. We need to create a boundary system that makes sense, literally bumper lanes, because you only have this. And the most useful tool for this is going to be the crate. You are going to be using the crate a lot all through puppyhood, on and off. It is never used as a punishment, but it is used as a containment system to communicate when they have had enough and or you have had enough, because it is going to happen. But these formative weeks are very important because they are providing the foundations of trust. Because when a dog has a routine, when a puppy has a routine, predictability feels good. They know what's going on. And when we do introduce something new and weird, then they still have that to fall back on. They feel more confident in you. They start to really get with the program in a way that's like, okay, I get it. It's nap time. It's feeding time. I understand what's going on, so I know what to expect. I then can start offering you better behaviors. But at this point, we really aren't focusing on a ton of obedience. Typically, I come into the picture with my private clients at about 10 to 12 weeks. In these formative baby infancy weeks, again, we are focusing on a good sleep schedule. We're focused on getting the puppy used to boundaries like baby gates and not being here or here all the time. This is very important, because from 16 to about 24 weeks is going to be like your like toddler, kindergarten, elementary phase. And this is when we really start asking a little bit more of the puppy, because they have their routine down pat. So now we can start asking and training and asking more of that puppy brain and starting to do things like basic obedience. This is all what I say is stars and stickers before letter grades. This is when we're using a lot of positive reinforcement. One of my favorite things to do is use a puppy's lunch as a training opportunity. Do name recognition stuff. You're going to do the come and sit game. Keeping it fun, keeping it light, but We are learning to use our tools like our leashes, both outside and inside, and utilizing our crate, as well as very basic fundamentals of the place command. But again, this is stars and stickers. I'm not going to expect a lot from a first grader who is learning. They might be able to write me a couple of sentences, but I'm not expecting war and peace, right? We have to be realistic with our expectations. So when we start to kind of see where their mental progression is, it allows us, the human side of things, to be able to follow along and hold them accountable and teach them accordingly. Because sometimes we have just bigger expectations than what that puppy is capable of. Because when we have no boundaries or no sense, literally no syllabus, then of course the dog is going to be freewheeling, and that's not fair. And it's not good for their nervous system. It's not good for yours either, to be perfectly honest. This is when they start doing annoying stuff. This is why raising a dog is the whole mindset here. But when puppy stuff is so fun, right? Again, stars and stickers before letter grades. We're using a lot of treats. And then they act good for about like 2 or 3 weeks. And then they start acting like they have never been trained a day in their life. I was talking to a client the other day, and she was clearly like, okay, I'm getting very frustrated. We had done puppy stuff. And before she even had a chance to say, he is acting like that's when I said, how old is he? 6 months? Okay, whatever is about to come next, that explains it. 6 months is your preteen. You go from having a sweet 4th grader to a 5th and 6th grader that is way too cool for you. And they start pushing back. They start asking why. Because they're the adolescents, they start to have a little bit more autonomy. As puppies, they needed you. But now they start asking, I don't know, this seems a little bit cooler. I'm going to try and push those buttons and see how much you mean it. This is when you go straight back to kindergarten in a way. And you go back to using the leash. You go back to making sure you're using the crate that you probably fell out of the habit of because they started acting so good. It is literally, if you are a parent, this is almost like a mirror image. It's just a little simpler. Because yes, dogs have emotions. Obviously, evolution, they have literally developed eyebrow muscles to be able to communicate with us. That puppy dog eye thing that your dog does, yeah, wolves can't do that because they don't care what we think. They are not trying to communicate with us. Dogs, on the other hand, are constantly communicating, and they have been for centuries. Literally developed muscles so we could read them better. So at minimum, we can do our puppy a service and learn a little bit more about them and their emotional state. This is going to feel so much bigger than training. And that's the point of canine coaching. That's what makes it fun. So once you hit about 6 months to about 9 months, you are dealing with a middle schooler. And that middle schooler is going to push. They're going to ask why. They're going to push those boundaries. They're going to push your buttons. And from 8 weeks to 8 months, you are going to have really great days with your puppy. And you're going to have days where you want to throw them out a window. You're going to have days that are super frustrating. And whoo, do you dislike your dog? That is normal. That is valid. And just because you feel it doesn't make it true, you put that, okay, cool, what can I do about it? Because you can do a lot more to show that dog what you want them to do with less talk back than an actual human kid, right? So when we're remembering that, we also need to remember that from about 10 months to about 14 months, that is when they're in high school. They're starting to become a little cooler, but they're still a little moody. They're still pushing the buttons. They still might be a little pushy. They might be becoming a little bratty. And so again, we are using all of the foundational boundaries as well as commands that they learned in puppyhood. Because if you are starting from scratch from like 6 months, this is officially far harder on you than it really should have been, because you are going to be doing the same stuff over and over and over again with slightly different conversations with the dog, right? Then, so 10 to 14 months, you got like high school. Getting pretty cool. They're starting to understand it. And then, oof, graduation. And about a year and a half to about two, I'd say 2.5. Your dog is in their early 20s. They're starting to figure it out, but they still think they know everything. I'm 34 and I thought I had a lot figured out in my 20s, and boy, howdy, did I not. That's okay, because honestly, my 30s have been my best. And I always tell people, when your dog hits 3, all that hard work that you put into building a relationship with your dog then turns into that friendship. That's when you become friends with your dog. That's when, honestly, the cool coworker. We all know that. We all know that one coworker that was like, oh, God, you just get me, right? That's our dog. Our dog is our cool coworker, because their brain is wired to work and is wired for teamwork. They have been bred for thousands of years to work alongside us. And then we expect our puppies to just be this super cute stuffed animal that's going to make us feel really good and will love us unconditionally because we give them food and cuddles and a soft bed. When in reality, if you're not providing that guidance and the boundaries through obedience and through understanding how to read your dog, it's all for naught. And then you have that dog that you're constantly apologizing for, and no one likes to be the I'm sorry dog parent. So start early. Be prepared. Have a trainer lined up that can help you from the start and can be honest about you and your journey. This is exactly why I built my puppy to preteen coaching package, because puppyhood doesn't need more commands. It needs more context. It needs more confidence and someone in your corner who can tell you, yes, this is normal, and here's what's happening and why it's actually happening, and also what to do about it. My whole goal, genuinely, the thing that drives me, is to bring you along so far that one day you will not need me, except for the weird stuff. And trust me, there will be weird stuff. I'm Genna. Follow along for more real life tips for you and your best good friend. I'll see you in the next one.